TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem, and in today's top stories. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu proclaims that the state of Israel is here to stay. In a show of overwhelming support, 400 members of the U.S. Congress adopt a resolution in an expression of bipartisan support for the U.S. Israel alliance. Russia dismisses Israel's outrage over Moscow's decision to hold an anti-Israel UN Security Council session on the country's Day of Remembrance. Israel celebrated its 75th Independence Day today with a long list of festive celebrations, including the annual ceremony at the President's residence in Jerusalem. During the special Independence Day ceremony, which included a salute to 120 outstanding IDF soldiers who excelled in their respective lines of duty, President Herzog praised the Israeli troops in attendance for their role in making the nation-state of the Jewish people a reality.
Exactly 75 years ago, late Premier David Ben-Gurion declared the establishment of a Jewish state in the land of Israel, the State of Israel. The overt miracle, the historic marvel, which is called the State of Israel, was erected and formed. At the height of bitter battles, at a time when only 3 years prior, millions of Jews were exterminated in the Holocaust, the fairy tale turned into reality, and we were and remained as dreamers. And you, 120 IDF soldiers who excelled, protectors and watchmen of Israel, are the result of this dream. In the name of our people, I want to tell you that I am proud of you, I love you, we are all proud of you. You deserve all of the honor.
Alongside President Yitzhak Herzog, who hosted at his residence in Jerusalem a long list of dignitaries, IDF Chief of General Staff Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi, Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu received a traditional place of honor. During a festive Q&A session, Prime Minister Netanyahu was asked to divulge a significant moment from the history of the people of the State of Israel, which particularly influenced him and shaped his personal perspective.
I read a lot from the Bible, but I assume that others do too, so I'll divert to the period immediately thereafter. We would not be here if we had not faced a series of empires that conquered our land. The first confrontation, 2,200 years ago, was that of the Maccabees. We won. Then came more difficult clients than the Greeks, and these were the Romans. We lost in all three of these battles, and we know what we went through thousands of years later. However, the interesting thing is that in this loss, the spirit of the people did not fall. Our desire to return, despite contending with difficulties which no one else withstood, this thing stayed with us. When I came in one of those rounds when I was Prime Minister, we restore heritage sites. I decided to restore Yodfat. Yodfat was the first Jewish fortress that fell in the Galilee when the Romans came to destroy Jerusalem. Someone brought me a Roman arrowhead. I put it in a sort of presentation, and next to it I asked for a model of the arrow missile. When guests came from abroad, and I tried to explain to them what happened here, I would tell them, you see, this is of the Romans and this is ours. The Romans are no longer here, and we are. This is what affects me all the time. We are here, and here we will stay, and nothing else will change that. And we will do it together.
Alongside the traditional events at the President's residence, the annual Bible quiz in Jerusalem, and the torch lighting ceremony last night, for the first time in Israel's 75-year history, aircraft from the United States, United Kingdom, Italy, and Germany have joined the Israeli Air Force for its annual flyover.
Hi, I'm Scarf. I'll be flying the Eaglestar 2.0 at this year's Air Parade. I'm thrilled and honored to be a part of this event. Happy Independence Day.
Alongside the joining of foreign dignitaries and troops in celebrating Israel's Day of Independence, Leaders from around the world relayed their respective personal, national, and institutional congratulations for Israel's 75th anniversary.
75 years ago, a dream was realized with Israel's Independence Day. After the greatest tragedy in human history, the Jewish people could finally build a home in the Promised Land. Today, we celebrate 75 years of vibrant democracy in the heart of the Middle East.
Alongside hundreds of congratulatory messages, the U.S. House of Representatives adopted a resolution expressing support for the U.S. Israel relationship and the Abraham Accords in honor of Israel's Independence Day. A staggering 400 American lawmakers voted in favor of the resolution, a strong bipartisan show of ironclad support for the U.S. Israel alliance, which also demonstrates the robust support which Israel persistently enjoys in Congress. In contrast, a meager 19 representatives, including one Republican and 18 Democrats, voted against the resolution. These naturally include radical elements, the likes of Palestinian-born Representative Rashida Tlaib and Somali-born Representative Ilhan Omar, among other like-minded individuals. Meanwhile, at the U.S. State Department, Deputy Spokesman Vedant Patel was asked by a Palestinian journalist why Congress chose to omit any reference to the Palestinians when discussing the U.S. Israel alliance.
I have not seen this specific resolution, and I'm not one to comment on pending products coming out of our Congress, but what I will say is two things. One, we would congratulate Israel on its upcoming 75th anniversary, but also you have seen us, this administration, be quite clear about our views on a two-state solution, as well as our views about ensuring the dignity and the equal measures of prosperity, of equal measures of justice when it comes to both the Israelis and Palestinians as well.
Patel further reasserted the Biden administration's unwavering support for a resolution to the Israel-Palestinian conflict based on a two-state solution.
We have been clear and consistent from this podium, from across this administration, about the need for a negotiated two-state solution, a state for the people of Israel, a state for the Palestinian people. So that continues to be our administration's approach to this. We believe that a serious negotiation should persist. We would want a resolution to this as soon as one is possible. And that is why we have spoken to this quite consistently before.
It is important to know that the remarks by the U.S. State Department deputy spokesman were made a day after the United Nations Security Council held a session, which was called for by the Russian Federation to deliberate, quote, the Palestinian question. However, while the Council is no stranger to one-sided displays of anti-Israel rhetoric, Israeli ambassador to the UN, Gilad Erdan, voiced outrage over the fact that this session was called for on the very day in which Israel remembers its fallen, including thousands of Israeli civilians who've been murdered by violent acts of Palestinian terror.
If this council refuses to respect their memory, I will dedicate this speech to their memory. I light this candle, Mr. President, to honor them, and may their memory be blessed. I'm sorry, but I refuse to spend this sacred day listening to lies and condemnation. This debate disgraces the fallen, and Israel will not take part in it.
It is important to know that Russia, which currently presides over the Security Council, refused to acquiesce to Israel's repeated requests to postpone the session. The main reason, as it is seen in Jerusalem, relates to Moscow's vindictive aspiration to retaliate against Israel's recent support of Ukraine in UN resolutions which rebuke Russia's invasion of its western neighbor. Nevertheless, in a subsequent press briefing, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov cynically dismissed Israel's outrage, claiming that Moscow was genuine about its intentions.
This was not an anti-Israel meeting. It was a meeting held pursuant to an agenda item that has been on the Security Council's agenda for decades, and the Palestinian question is one of the most protracted conflicts that has not been solved, cannot be solved by anyone or anything, and now the agreements and Security Council resolutions are being avoided, and Palestinians are being promised certain economic benefits in exchange for giving up their claims for an independent state.
It is worth noting that the United Nations is historically biased against Israel, which is clearly showcased by the amount of anti-Israel resolutions which are adopted each year. While the Islamic Republic of Iran, North Korea, Russia, and other state actors are seldomly held accountable for their actions at the world body, the UN General Assembly condemned the State of Israel alone more times than all other countries combined last year. Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. If you're blessed by our productions and would like to help support TV7 Israel's ongoing operations, which are exclusively donation-based, please consider making a financial contribution. You can do so by visiting our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Separately, I would like to encourage you to unceasingly pray for our persecuted brothers and sisters worldwide, as well as for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. Jonathan Hassan wishing you once again a Chag Atzmaut Sameach, and God willing, we'll see you again tomorrow at the same time.